الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. أما بعد, my brothers and sisters, alhamdulillah, we have gone through the book of Seerah called the Seerah is the Answer, and we are coming towards the last chapters of the book, and this has to do with the very important element of relationships. The relationships that Rasulullah ﷺ made and how he maintained them and what he did with respect to conflict, what he did with respect to people who he liked and people who he did not like. And it's very important for us to think about this and to reflect on it and to remember this. I want to begin by stating one thing very strongly and emphatically and clearly, and that is that the root of all goodness is mercy, is rahmah. And forgiveness is mercy in action. Forgiveness is the evidence, is the sign of mercy. How do I know if I am merciful? I know I am merciful if I am ready to forgive. If I don't forgive, then I am not merciful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we expect and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His mercy and for His forgiveness, not because we have not done anything wrong, but because we have done things wrong. We ask for forgiveness. Why? Because we need forgiveness. If we did not need forgiveness, we would not ask for forgiveness. We need forgiveness. And we need forgiveness because we do something which is wrong. So this is a question which many people ask. They say, oh, but so and so. If you say, why don't you forgive somebody? People say, oh, but he did this wrong. Yes, of course he did it wrong. Because he did it wrong, that is why we are forgiving. That is why we are saying we should forgive. If a person had not done anything wrong, then what is there to forgive? That is the reason why Rasulullah said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive those who forgive others. Nabi said, cover the faults of your Muslim brother or sister. Otherwise, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will expose your faults even if you are in the security of your own home. Allah will humiliate you even inside your own home. No matter how safe you think you are, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will humiliate you if you humiliate your brothers or sisters. It's talking about covering of faults. Today, the purpose of these lectures and the workshops and so on is for us to reflect on ourselves. And we must see what is it that we are today, what is the kind of culture that there is around us. You have to only make one mistake, one slightest mistake, and there will be at least 4 people to point it out to you. I'm not saying the mistake is not a mistake. Please understand this. I'm not saying that something is good about making a mistake. No, a mistake is a mistake. But given that there are 1,000 good things that you get from people, the only thing you can see is that mistake. I was teaching a Seerah course in Malaysia, and we finished that. It was a 2-day program. We finished it at 9 o'clock in the night. So a lot of people finished at 9 o'clock. Right? So I finished the course. People all came and met Musafa and all that, and people are going and going. They all left. By the time everybody left, it was almost 9:45. And there was one lady who was waiting. So it was only me, the course organizer, my friend Shazli Khan, and this one lady. So I asked the lady, I said, is everything okay? Why are you waiting? She said, no, I want to talk to you. Okay, please tell me, what is it? She said, I just want you to know that you drank water with your left hand. That's it. To tell me that I drank water with my left hand, she waited 45 minutes in the night. Alhamdulillah. I said, I don't. What happened? What happened there was they put the water here on the left hand, and there was no mic on a stand. So I was holding. I'm a right-handed person, so I was holding the mic in my right hand. So I'm not justifying it. I'm not saying I did a good deed. Allah will give me Jannah for that. But I also know Allah will not give me Jannah because I drank water with my left hand without understanding once. Yes, it is a mistake, but it's not a mistake which will put me in the hellfire. So I don't care. I have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy before me. I will ask Allah to forgive me. My question is not that. My question is, you spent, I don't know how many, 3 hours or 4 hours, sitting and listening to the Seerah of Mirza. And at the end of 4 hours, all that you got was that I drank water with my left hand. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. Now this atmosphere of criticism seems to have become a norm with us. Everywhere you go, you see this. You do 1,000 good things, nobody bothers. In that 1,000 good things, one time, one instant, you say something, either you say something wrong, or, for example, in reciting Quran, maybe in terms of tajweed, one makhraj or something, one elongation or one shorting, whatever it is, some mistake you make, immediately there will be 4 people who will tell you that this is what. So I say, Alhamdulillah, I don't mind, because for me, if somebody is pointing out a mistake, it is good for me. So I will correct myself. But my point is that what does that say about your orientation when you are in that situation? I grew up in a world, and my tarbiyah was in our language, in Urdu, we say, "Badao ki ghalti pakadna sabse badi ghalti hai." We say that catching mistakes of elders is the biggest mistake. That shows a lack of adab. It shows that you have no respect for teachers and elders and so on. Who did the person who is teaching you, did he claim to be perfect? Before he started the class, did he say that I am perfect, I make no mistake? Did he say that? He didn't say that. I have had asatiza, I have had teachers. May Allah bless them. Today, whatever I know is because of them. Then they are from India. They are elderly people. Their tajweed in recitation of Quran. If I sit today, from whatever I know about tajweed, I can find 25 mistakes in every line. So what shall I do? Point out the mistakes to them? I don't. I do not point out mistakes. I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah gave me the opportunity to sit at their feet and learn something. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, this is your abd, this is your kalam, he is reciting, he is doing his best to the best of his ability. Please forgive him. My father, alhamdulillah, I said this so many times. My father prayed tahajjud to the best of my knowledge. I remember it at least for 40 years. Till the last day of his life. Until he could not, last 2 months of his life, he was in a coma. So until that time, my father prayed tahajjud, no matter what. 2:30 in the night, he would get up and he would make wudu and so on. He would pray tahajjud. Then when we were children, he would wake us up for Salatul Fajr and so on. And then he would pray tahajjud, he would sit and recite Quran, and then he would pray. He would pray Fajr. He would wake us up. And when he was reciting Quran, his tajweed was all wrong. Because that's how they learned. I mean, in our countries in those days, we didn't have great tajweed teachers. So we learned whatever we learned. There is a kitab called Kashful Mahjub. Now in that there is a beautiful story about Hasan al-Basri Rahmatullah. Hasan al-Basri Rahmatullah had a student, his name was Habib. And he was called Habib al-Ajami because he was from Persia, from Iran. Now he was Irani, so his Arabic obviously was too weak. And his recitation of Quran, he used to, in terms of tajweed, some mistakes he used to make. One day, but Hasan al-Basri Rahmatullah, I loved him very much, he loved his Ustad very much, wonderful person. One day, Habib al-Ajami Rahmatullah was praying, he was reciting Quran. Hasan al-Basri came into the room, Rahmatullah, with the intention of praying behind. He thought, he's praying, I will pray behind him. So he came to stand beside him. But when he heard the recitation, he found some mistakes in tajweed. So he didn't stand behind. He went away. That night, Hassan Basri Rahmatullahi had a dream. And in this dream, he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm not saying he saw Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm saying in the dream he is asking something. He asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, please show me the way to get close to you. How can I have your qurb? How can I have your ma'iyat? He hears a voice saying, you had a chance and you blew it. You had a chance and you lost it. He said, I had a chance to get close to Allah and I lost it. The voice says, yes. He says, what is that chance? He said, you could have prayed behind Habib al-Ajami, but you did not. You looked at his tajweed, you did not look at the khulus in his heart. You did not look at the ikhlas in his heart. Huh? Now again, I'm sure my Salafi brothers who will hear this story will have things to say about Kashful Mahjub and so on and so forth. That's no problem. You can say whatever you like. My point is that the issue is not of tajweed alone. And as I'm saying again and again, I'm not saying tajweed is not important. Of course it's important. Everything is important. The question is not about the other. The question is about myself. If I am going into a majlis, if I am going into a place, what am I looking for? What am I looking for? Because you will get what you look for. I did a Fajr reminder sometime ago, 3, 4, 5, 6 days ago, I think, on this. You get what you look for. So listen to that. I don't want to repeat that now. So let us focus on ourselves. Let us focus on our own amal. Let us focus on our own changes that I need to make in my own life. Don't worry about others. Least of all, about those who teach you. I'm not trying to save myself. I never claimed to be a person of knowledge, and I do not claim that now either. I'm doing my best with whatever I know, alhamdulillah. I ask Allah to forgive me whatever mistakes I make. I am talking about the whole attitude of learning and how we must approach that attitude of learning. And that must be to focus on myself and say, what is it that I can learn? Whoever it is. Even if the person teaching you is a donkey, the donkey can teach you something. At least the donkey can teach you how not to be a donkey, which is very valuable learning. No? So think about that. Think about that. The basis of Islam, the basis of Rasulullah's leadership quality was forgiveness, was mercy. That is the fundamental thread that you see in the life of the Prophet ﷺ throughout his life. You see a man who was merciful, a man who was ready to forgive anyone and everyone. He was wronged, the people harmed him physically, they harmed him emotionally, they harmed him materially. Yet, he never harmed, he never retaliated, he never took revenge on anybody. And he constantly forgave people. And that was forgiving from a position of strength, not from a position of weakness. He could have done more than what he did, but he didn't do it deliberately. And the result of that was that he was able to form an ummah, he was able to form one community with a group of people who were so completely and totally diverse. Even today, we people who are not from the Middle East, we think of all Arabs as one. That is the last thing in the world. I wish it was not like that, but that is the reality. Egyptians can't get along with Palestinians, Palestinians cannot get along with Lebanese, Lebanese can't get along with Jordanians, Jordanians can't get along with Saudis. Huh? Where is one Arab? There is no one Arab. Even in those days, there was no one Arab. There were people who were divided on the basis of tribe, on the basis of dialect, and then there were non-Arabs also. There were African people there, there were people from Iran, there were people from the Byzantine Empire of the Romans, from Syria. So this was a bunch of people who were completely diverse. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam welded them all into one group. It's an absolutely incredible story of how that happened. Today we are struggling. I mean, any Muslim group you go and ask, if I ask you guys today, what do you think is the number one requirement of us as a people? What will you tell me? Unity, right? You go to any country in the world, catch hold of a bunch of Muslims and say, what do you think Muslims need? Absolutely, number one, they will say unity. So everywhere in the world we are agreed upon that we need unity. So how come we don't have it? We should have it, no? I mean, if everyone is agreed that we need unity, so why don't we have it? We don't have it because it's not easy. But Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was able to do that. And how did he do that? He did that with forgiveness. You cannot have any relationship, whether it's a relationship of a husband and wife, whether it's a relationship of spouses, or brothers and sisters, of siblings, or colleagues at work, or anything at all, student, teachers, you cannot have a friendship or a relationship in the absence of forgiveness. Forgiveness is absolutely critical because there is nobody who will not make a mistake. There is nobody who will not do something wrong. And if you will not forgive, that's it. Relationship is over. And that is the reason why, take even when Rasulullah says, Aisha Siddiqa radiallahu anha, she asked him, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if I get Laylatul Qadr, what dua should I make? And the best night of the year, a time for acceptance of dua, and who is asking whom? Think about it. Did he tell her ask for rizq? Did he tell her ask for Jannah? Did he tell her ask for children? Did he tell her ask for money, political power, authority? Nothing. He said ask Allah for forgiveness. Ask Allah for forgiveness. Allahumma innaka afuwun kareem, tuhibbul afu fa'fu anni. Oh Allah, you are the most forgiving. You like to forgive, so please forgive. But this is the basis. And Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described himself also as Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Allah introduced himself, opening Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. The most beneficent, the most merciful. Ar-Rahman is on the wazn of Al-Jawan, Al-Atkan, very hungry, very thirsty, Al-Ghadban, very angry, peak of something, peak of an emotion. And Ar-Rahim is the continuation of that emotion at the peak. Ar-Rahim as in Al-Jameel, Al-Kareem, doesn't decline. Because the problem with the peak is that a peak always declines. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's rahmah does not decline. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala divided his rahmah into 100 parts. He sent one part into the world because of which every mother has mercy on her child. And all the other instances of mercy you see in the world are all because of that one part of the rahmat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. 99 parts Allah has kept with himself, which he will use on the day of judgment to forgive the people. We ask Allah for his forgiveness. This is the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I remind myself and you, very important, let us learn to forgive one another. Let us learn to look at the strengths of each other. Let us learn to compliment each other on strengths, not on mistakes. If there is some mistake which is so severe and so forth, then take the person to one place in private and then tell them whatever you want to tell them. But even that, use your judgment. Not everything needs to be pointed out. Try to focus on the strengths and the good things of people. You will find plenty. I have seen in my life Whatever you look for, you get. You're looking for good stuff, you get good stuff. You're looking for bad stuff, you get bad stuff. So let us try to do that. Now in Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, if you look at the Meccan period, in Mecca, his own family cast him out. Right? His own family, including the closest people to him. His own uncle. In the even in our culture, it is the same in India, Pakistan, but in the Arab culture, the uncle, is at the level of the father. So somebody who is that close. Abu Lahab, when Rasulullah was born, Abu Lahab, there was a slave girl who came and informed Abu Lahab. Abu Lahab gave her freedom right there and gave her 2 gold bangles. He was so happy that my brother Abdullah had a son. Abu Lahab was so happy that he rewarded the slave girl. He gave her 2 gold bangles and he released her, gave her freedom. Just because she brought this news that Amina, the mother of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, had a baby and your brother Abdullah had a son. This is how the same Abu Lahab turned completely against Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam when he announced Islam, and he used to malign him and he used to try to defame him in public and so on and so forth. Think about how much it must have hurt Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to know that my own uncle is doing this to me. And doing for what reason? I mean, what was your, if you ask and say, well, what did he do to you? Why did he harm you? What was the matter? Why did you have to say or do all this? Nothing. This is what he just decided that he had to do because he did not like this whole issue of Islam. As far as the Sahaba are concerned, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, today, we are so far away that we don't realize how close the Sahaba were to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The Sahaba were closer to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam than our own children are to us. Yet, those Sahaba, they were persecuted in the most horrible ways. They were tortured, they were killed. How much of pain did Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam feel for every time this happened? Yet, when the time came, when Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala gave Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam the power to take revenge, just 8 years later, from the Hijrah to the Fatah Makkah is 8 years. 8 years later, when Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had the power to take revenge, when he came to Makkah with an army of 10,000 people, 10,000 soldiers, he could have laid waste. He could have slaughtered every one of them. He could have taken whatever he wanted by force. He did nothing. He did not do any of that. He entered Makkah with his head bowed down, with his blessed forehead touching the pommel of the saddle of his camel. And he said, La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah wahdah. Sadaqa wa'adah. Wa nasara abdah. Wa hazama al-ahzaba wahdah. He said, there is no one worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sadaqa wa'adah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was true to his promise. Wa nasara abdah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helped his slave, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Wa hazama al-ahzaba wahda. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala defeated the confederates, he defeated the enemies by himself. Saying this, he went down and he came into Makkah. He came and he stood on at the door of the Kaaba, which is, as we know, it's high up, the same way there then also. And he called out and he called the people. So they all came. And he asked them, he said, what shall I do with you? What shall I do with you? So they said, Anta akhil kareem. Ibnul akhil kareem. He said, you are our honored brother, and you are the son of our honored brother. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Idhabu fantumu tulaqa. He said, okay, go. Today you are free. Today you are free. You are free today. That's why the people who were there at that time, they are called at-tulaqa. They are called the freed slaves of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Because Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam could have taken revenge if he wanted to, but he didn't take. He left them. Now, this is the issue of forgiveness. Now, think about that. If Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had retaliated, if he had taken revenge, if he had extracted retribution, all of which he had the justification to do. But given the culture of the time, culture of the day, what do you think would have happened? This whole aspect of a community forming would never have happened. Because that retribution and the revenge would have started new conflicts which would have gone on forever. I mean, there was no end to that. So just this one action of his, of forgiving people, it saved the entire community and it saved the entire issue of the Muslim Ummah. That's what forgiveness does. Now, for us to forgive each other, what is also required is what is called husn zan. To expect the best from your brother or sister. Now, to give you an idea of the meaning of husn zan, Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah, rahmatullah, I think it is him or Ibn al-Jawzi, they said, if I see my brother with alcohol dripping from his beard, I will say somebody poured it on him. He's talking most of that. So he's not saying, somebody said somebody was drinking. If I'm seeing him that he's got alcohol dripping from his beard all over his shirt. He said, I will say somebody poured it on him. I will not say he was drinking. He said, if I see my brother standing on a hill, and there he is saying, Innani anallah, la ilaha illa ana, fa'budni waqimi salah. If he stands there and he said, verily I am Allah, there is no one worthy of worship except me, so worship me. If I see him standing on a hill and if I hear him saying this, I will say he is reciting the ayat of the Quran. I will not say he has claimed to be a god, he is kafir, he is murtad. No. I will say, this is the ayat of Surah Taha. So he is reciting the ayat. This is the meaning of husn zan. Husn zan is to believe the best about your brother or sister, even if you see something happening which is wrong. This doesn't mean you are a fool. Sometimes people might think, what kind of thing is this? I know what is going wrong. So am I a fool? Don't I know? No, it's not a matter of being a fool. It's a matter of giving the benefit of the doubt to the person. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was going, he saw one of the Ansari Sahaba, he was beating his slave. Whatever his slave did, he was punishing, he was beating him. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Ittaqullah, Ittaqullah. He said, fear Allah, fear Allah. He said, your Rabb has more power over you than you have over this slave. Now see the Sahabi also. So, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was objecting to him beating the slave. So he would have stopped beating, he would have said, Ya Rasulullah, I'm sorry, he would have told the slave, I'm sorry, he would have given him some gift. No. He said, Ya Rasulullah, I want to make you the witness, I have freed this man. I have freed this man. The Sahaba also responded that way. I have freed this man. He said, I don't want his musibat. One man came and asked Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and said, Ya Rasulullah, if my servant or whoever, if they do something wrong, you are saying I should forgive them. How many times should I forgive? Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said 70 times. Every day. Not just 70 times. Many times we mentioned this. 70 times you should forgive. Yeah, but how many times? 70 times. 70 times per day. He said, forgive him 70 times every day. This is the extent of forgiveness. This is the issue of forgiveness. See how the Sahaba did. They never carried anything in their heart. This is the beauty of the Sahaba, that they never carried anything in their hearts. One day, Sayyidina Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu's Khilafah, Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, some ghanima, some thing had come, booty of the war had come from somewhere. And Sayyidina Umar used to give special consideration to the people of Badr. Among the Sahaba, there was this hierarchy kind of thing. They were first the Ashar Mubashara, the 10 people who had Bashara of Jannah, then they were the Badriyin, the people who took part in the Battle of Badr, then there were others. So Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu always used to give precedence and he would give some preference to the people of Badr. So he had sent out, lengths of cloth to make cloth he had sent out. So after that, Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu was giving the khutbah, Jummah, masjid is full, the Khalifa, Amir Mu'minin is speaking, he is the Khalifa. He said, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu ittaqullaha. He said, Atiullaha wa atiu rasula wa ulil amri minkum. This is the ayat of Suratul Nisa. Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu atiullaha wa atiu rasula wa ulil amri minkum. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, O you who believe, obey Allah, obey His Rasul and obey your leaders. Ulil amri minkum. Salman Farsi radiallahu anhu, who is sitting right in front, he said, we will obey Allah, we will obey the Rasul, but we will not obey you. Now look at the situation. Here, imagine this. This is the whole masjid is full of people. Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu is speaking, he is the Khatib, he is speaking, he is the Amir Mu'minin, he is the Amir. And Salman Farsi radiallahu anhu is sitting in front. He is saying this in the open place in front of everybody. We will obey Allah, we will obey the Rasul, but we will not obey you. Anyone in that position, what would you do? You would get seriously offended, because what kind of thing is this? I mean, you are saying this to me directly, I am the Amir, you are telling me, challenge, I will not obey you. But not Umar ibn Khattab. This is the whole issue of tarbiyah and tazkiyatun nafs. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu stopped speaking. He said to Salman Farsi, he said, my brother, can you tell me why did you say that? He didn't say, I'm offended, how can you say this, I am David? No. He said, my brother, can you tell me why did you say that? Salman Farsi radiallahu anhu said, you gave one piece of cloth for making, a thobe or whatever it is, clothing, to each one of us who were from the people of Badr. But I see that you have two. So you are unjust. There is no other. So we cannot obey. Right? Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu kept silent. He did not reply. His son Abdullah ibn Umar, who was also from the Badri, he stood up and he said, I would like you to know that I gave my piece of cloth to my father because my father is a big man. One piece of cloth is not enough for him. Sayyidina Umar was huge. He was a wrestler, he was a professional wrestler. And he was a very big man. So Abdullah ibn Umar said, radiallahu anhu, he said, my father is a big man, one piece of cloth is not sufficient for him to make clothing. So I gave my piece of cloth to him. So Salman al-Farsi radiallahu anhu says, Alhamdulillah, we will obey Allah, we will obey the Rasul, and we will obey you. No rancor in the heart, no bad feelings, no anger with anybody, clean hearts, willingness to forgive. They will ask. Now think about this whole incident. When I first read this story, I was thinking myself, okay, all of this is right, but Salman Farsi could have asked this question, quietly. And what was the need to ask in the middle of anybody? It's the fact of Sayyidina Umar asking and responding and so on. But why was the necessity to ask in open? Then it occurred to me, Salman al-Farsi radiallahu anhu was doing Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu a favor by asking his open. Why? Because maybe he was not the only one with that doubt in his mind. There would have been many other people, but they don't have the courage to ask Sayyidina Umar directly radiallahu anhu. So Salman al-Farsi radiallahu anhu, because of his position, he was not afraid of Sayyidina Umar. So because he asked him openly, that gave Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu a chance of clarifying this matter for everyone. So even if there were other people, and there must have been other people who had that doubt in their mind, everybody's doubt got clarified. So Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu's position becomes strong. So see the hikmat also in this of Salman al-Farsi radiallahu anhu, of asking, of doing something like this. Normally speaking, if somebody had asked you, you would say, no, don't, something like this, don't ask in public. Go and tell people, somebody quietly by the side, take them aside and explain things. But in this particular case, that asking openly itself was a sign of the love for each other that they had. So there are different ways of supporting your brother. It's not always to say yes, yes, yes for everything. There are other ways of supporting also. This is how Salman al-Farsi radiallahu anhu, he supported Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu. I mean, how beautiful this is. That's why I say, even at home and so on, please read the stories of the Sahaba, read the stories of Rasulullah, read the Seerah, because there is so much to learn. There's so much, every story has got, and it's not just one thing, there's so many aspects to these things. The question of the purity of the hearts, of the tazkiyah of the nafs, which is so important, which we should do. These people were amazing people. They were absolutely, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created a generation which was unique. There's no one like the Sahaba of Rasulullah. So I want to close with this and say that let us do this. Let us forgive each other always. That's the question I want to leave you with. Who are you willing to forgive now? Do this. I want to close with the very famous story which many of you have heard, I'm sure, where Rasulullah was sitting in the masjid with some Sahaba. He said to them, a man is going to come now and he is from the people of Jannah. So Sa'ad bin Abi Waqqas radiallahu anhu, he entered. He didn't know that this conversation happened. He happened to come inside. The following day, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was sitting. He did the same thing. He said, a man will come now and this man is from the people of Jannah. And Sa'ad bin Abi Waqqas radiallahu anhu entered. Third day, the same thing happened. So Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu was there. He decided that, I thought to himself, I'm going to go and see what is it this man is doing. Why did the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam say that this is a man from Jannah? So he went to Sa'ad bin Abi Waqqas radiallahu anhu. He said, can I be your guest? I would like to come and stay with you. He said, please, we're most welcome. So he stayed in his house for 3 days. And these 3 days, Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu observed Sa'ad bin Abi Waqqas radiallahu anhu very, very closely. He was with him the whole time, watching him. At the end of 3 days, he said to Sa'ad bin Abi Waqqas radiallahu anhu, he said, I came here to stay with you, not because I have a problem or something. I came here, he told me the story. He said, this is what happened. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentioned this, you were the one who came 3 times. So I thought to myself, let me learn something from you. What is it you are doing? So I came to observe, but he said, in the 3 days, I didn't see anything special. I did not see you doing anything special. Whatever we do, you also do. So why didn't the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam say this? Sa'ad bin Abi Waqqas radiallahu anhu said, maybe he said it because there is something I do which you could not have seen. So Abdullah ibn Umar said, radiallahu anhu, what did you do? What did you do? He said, every night before I go to sleep, I forgive everybody. I clean my heart. I forgive everyone. During the day, if I have done something, I have to seek forgiveness, I do that. But in the night before going to sleep, I forgive everybody. I don't carry any ill feeling about anybody in my heart. And I go to sleep. He said, maybe Allah likes this. And that's the reason maybe why Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentioned this. So please, I would like to remind myself and you, let us forgive everybody. Whatever anybody may have done, not done. And with people like us, there is nobody killed any person of yours, nobody tortured anyone. For us, it's all ego stuff. This one said this, that one said this, nothing. Apart from this ego nonsense, we have got nothing else. So let us clean that. Remove all this. If you are carrying grudges in your heart, wallahi, there is something wrong with your heart. Please clean your heart. Do not carry grudges. It's like garbage. Sometimes I give the example. Supposing you are driving on a highway or on the highway on a motorbike, right? So you are going on the bike. There is a garbage truck in front of you, and a piece of garbage flies off the truck and hits you here, on your shoulder, on your jacket. Now what do you do? You flick it off, and the first opportunity you will wash it, no? And if there is still some smell, you put some perfume or something to get rid of the smell, right? But supposing instead of that, you rub it in, and then you are driving, every little while you smell it. Yeah? Then you are driving and you smell it. Hey! Now what do you say to that behavior? You say, you're crazy. It is garbage. It is some filthy thing. Why are you carrying it with you? Why are you looking at it and why are you smelling it again and again and why are you feeling bad? I mean, you are doing it yourself, right? That garbage came at you, fair enough. Get rid of it. Now there are people in the world who are garbage trucks. That is their job. Their job is to throw garbage. What to do? There are people like this. So wherever they go, they will say some nonsense to somebody, they will do something. If that happens to you, treat it like garbage. It is garbage. Don't carry it. Flick it, wash it, forget about it. End of story, lead your life. Don't ruin your life by remembering those things and then recalling them every once in a while, and then you're feeling bad about it and you're telling somebody else about it. And then, no. This is all negative stuff. Don't do any of that. You don't throw garbage on anyone, and if somebody throws garbage on you, treat it like garbage, get rid of it, forget about it, stay away from that. Right? Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Jalla Jalaluhu to make us, to fill our hearts with His rahmah, with His nur, with His barakah, and to make us people who forgive each other. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us people who forgive each other, to join our hearts together, to keep our hearts together, to make us one people. Because we are one people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said the reason we join is because Ana Rabbukum fa'budun. Allah said, I am your Rabb, so worship me. This is what we do. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep our hearts together. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us strength together. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept all your du'as and to give you whatever you ask with khair and afiyah, and then to give you more from His grace and His mercy. وصلى الله على نبي الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.